Your thing never bonded to the windshield.
Oh my.
Well, easy to cut out.
No, thank you very much. I think your wife
I was working on the only derby I was in, and they had the little clips for like all the plastic or whatever
Yeah.
along the frame or the
Did you get one of these?
posts or whatever. So I was sitting there and I was cutting
would
the
Frankie
reindeer
do?
thing and everything.
Do the right thing.
Slipped my
Flip it
right on
inside
one of the
out.
clips.
It says even when
I
nobody's
don't get
around.
off of this now. Like, I don't remember like how it went off.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it slid right underneath my skin and hurt like the dick in one of these.
Huh.
So this is what would Frankie do? And do the right thing. And then if you flip it inside out, it says even when no one's around.
All right. Thank you.
Did you hear all that?
I did. I did. Thank you, sir.
Yep, appreciate it.
Very nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
She's
I don't think so.
in Tulsa, we believe.
You can go down and see her.
You can go down and see her if you want.
Where?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
He's like,
Say less. I'm out of here. It's business. It's a business trip.
yeah.
Business. We're getting awful thin on the business there.
Yeah. Thin, but not non-existent.
Right?
It's just like speed limit signs. All it is suggestions.
Yeah, it is a suggestion. That's all it is. Yeah.
I hope they didn't get that on tape. It'd probably look bad.
What?
I almost got reminded
Everybody
about the
lost.
suggestions here
Borrow my contacts.
on the trip to Illinois.
Okay.
Whereas is hard tonight.
This isn't a lying as, cheating as, dumb as.
This thing on?
It's like,
Oh, he hit record a bit
that's
early
two.
this time.
Oh man. Yeah, you guys are gonna have to cover me up. I'm not so much sure.
Yeah, well, we're taking photos tonight, so be
I
fair.
was made aware at 7:40 or 30 something, or 4:30 something.
This meeting to order. Roll, please.
Showalter,
Here.
Myers, Howard,
Here.
Redlin,
Here.
Thompson.
Here. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment this evening? Mr. Jim Ross, please take the podium.
Basically just putting out some information. The VFW, who's been down here on 9th and Main since, I have no idea, the 20s,
Long time. Yeah.
longer than I've been around. Basically, we're reaching a membership crisis. Roughly 65% of our members are 70 and above. If we add in the 50s and 60s, we get up closer to 90. We have a total membership of in the neighborhood of 114 compared to if you look back in the 1950s when it was probably well over 500. And even in the early 90s, we were at 300. So we have a fairly large building there, and between utilities and insurance, we're probably looking at $3,000 to $4,000 a month in fixed costs.
Mhm.
Utilities alone range in the neighborhood of $2,000. So basically, low membership, fixed expenses, large footprint. And so we need to look at reducing our footprint, trying to figure out a way to get into something smaller that reflects our membership. We don't see how our membership's going to increase. The very title of the Veterans of Foreign Wars means you have to have a foreign war. And that seems to have gone out of style. You can make your own personal judgments on whether that's good or bad. Well, like I said, we're looking on reducing our footprint. So if you hear stories, rumors, the VFW is closing. There is no intention at this point in time to close the VFW. We think we still provide a service to the community and to the veterans. But we are seriously looking at ways to cut our costs, and the biggest and most important of those is how do we reduce our costs in that building? Does it mean bringing in other people to occupy that building and we retain a small portion? Or do we move to a smaller footprint someplace else, office space, whatever, and somebody else buys or rents that building? So I guess you could draw something of a parallel to the Elks. So that's where we are. I can take questions, but we're not asking for any money or extra privileges or anything like that at this time. As far as how do we increase our sales, our income, one big change that happened in the past 2 years is we went from a membership liquor license to a public liquor license. On the one hand, that legalized our guests. We probably were a little bit liberal with determining who was a guest and who was just somebody that walked in off the street. But now there's no question on that. But that essentially raised the cost from, I think it was in the neighborhood of $300 a year to $3,000 a year. Plus the cities take on top of the state. So yes, we did bring in more money, more people. It allowed us to do different types of events, but the costs also went up. So, like I said, at this point in time, we don't have any final decisions, but we know there is a crunch coming, and we would rather be prepared for the crunch rather than simply be hit over the top of the head by a big hammer. and be walking around town trying to figure out, do we give the keys to the city or give the keys to the county? So
All right, well, thank you
And-
for,
it's not Jeff, it's Jim.
Thank you.
yep, thanks for keeping us updated, and I hope you find a solution sooner rather than later. Okay, anybody else in public comment tonight? Nope. Okay, let's move on to the consent agenda. We have A, the 9/18/2023 commission meeting minutes, and B, the appropriation ordinances 2023-19, 2023-19A, and 2023-P19. Do we have any questions, comments, or concerns on those this time around?
I'll move that we approve consent agenda items A and B.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Howard and a second by Commissioner Redlin. Any other further discussion? Roll, please.
Redlin,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Myers, Showalter,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Okay, we will move on to presentations and proclamations, and we do have a couple proclamations this evening, starting with one about Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we do have some people from Options here this evening who's going to come up and just inform us on an event that's coming up this evening still.
This evening. Thank you, Mayor Thompson. My name is Megan Zampieri-Lilpop. I am the Director of Client Services at Options Domestic and Sexual Violence Services. Tonight, we are celebrating or honoring survivors of domestic violence in Goodland at the Medical Center. We will be making the hospital purple at 6:30 Mountain Time.
Yes.
It happens in every community. It happens in Western Kansas, and it happens inside neighborhoods, even if you can't hear it. The statistics that you'll hear are as recent as we could make them and as specific as we could make them. So Mayor Thompson will be sharing those facts with you. When we gather together, though, we work very hard to honor those who have gone before us, but to celebrate the hope and healing that still is yet to come for the survivors. So you're more than welcome to come. We're very happy to see you there, and thank you. Thank you for this investment in your community.
Yes. And where at the hospital?
At the hospital,
In the
the
front
lobby.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, and the proclamation reads as follows. To the people of Goodland, Kansas, greetings. Whereas domestic violence is a widespread, preventable public health problem impacting all Kansas communities. And whereas family and relationships are often counted among life's greatest gifts, and tragically, many Kansans' relationships are tarnished by violence and fear. And whereas perpetrators of domestic violence use violence and fear to gain power and control over their victims, violating an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity with their intentional, systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, financial, and coercive control and abuse. And whereas fleeing domestic violence has caused women and children to be the fastest growing homeless population, and whereas in Kansas in 2021, one domestic violence incident was reported every 23 minutes, one domestic violence arrest was made every 47 minutes, and domestic violence murder occurred every 11 and a half days. And whereas the Kansas Bureau of Investigation reports that domestic violence murders account for 22% of all homicides in Kansas in 2021. And whereas in Sherman County, 39 incidents of domestic violence were reported to police in 2021, while Options Domestic and Sexual Violence Services provided 252 services to survivors in Sherman County. And whereas people who experience domestic violence should have help to find the compassion, comfort, and healing they need, and domestic abusers should be punished to the full extent of the law. And whereas domestic violence is inconsistent with the values of our community and will not be excused or tolerated. Now therefore I, Aaron Thompson, Mayor of the City of Goodland, Kansas, do hereby proclaim October 2023 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Goodland and encourage all citizens to speak out against domestic violence, to provide support for survivors of these crimes, to encourage community leaders to hold perpetrators accountable, and to make domestic violence prevention efforts a priority by hosting events, by creating policies at school and work, and by working with your local domestic violence victim service providers. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the official seal of Goodland, Kansas, the 2nd day of October, 2023. Okay, I think we're going to have a photo opportunity this evening as well. We'll just line up right in front here.
You own it, because it's your city's proclamation, and you will.
We'll share.
Yes, thank you.
All right, ready, guys? 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Got it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
Okay, and we will move on to the next proclamation, proclaiming Public Power Week for October 1st through 7th of 2023. And this one reads, whereas we, the citizens of Goodland, place a high value on local choice over community services and therefore have chosen to operate a community-owned, not-for-profit electric utility, and as customers and owners of our electric have a direct say in utility operations and policies. Whereas City of Goodland provides our homes, businesses, schools, and social service and local government agencies with reliable, efficient, and safe electricity, employing sound business practices designed to ensure the best possible service at not-for-profit rates. Whereas City of Goodland is a valuable community asset that contributes to the well-being of local citizens through energy efficiency, customer service, environmental protection, economic development, and safety awareness. And whereas the City of Goodland is a dependable and trustworthy institution whose local operation provides many consumer protections and continues to make our community a better place to live and work, and contributes to protecting the global environment. Now, therefore, I, Aaron Thompson, Mayor of the City of Goodland, hereby proclaim the week of October 1st through 7th as Public Power Week in Goodland, and I urge all citizens to recognize the people behind public power at the City of Goodland for their contributions to the community and to educate customers, policymakers, and employees of the benefits of public power. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Goodland, Kansas to be affixed the 2nd day of October, 2023. And I don't believe we have anybody from the Power Department here this evening, anyway.
No, Dustin was unable to be here tonight. So.
Okay. Okay, well, let's move on to ordinances and resolutions then. We have Resolution 1617 regarding an unfit structure at 122 West 14th. I believe we have Zach coming up to inform us.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I presented this to you guys on the 7th of August. It is the two-story house across the street from the park down here on Center. 3 days after I presented it to you, I was contacted by local PD stating that people were breaking into it, throwing rocks into the windows, that kind of stuff. I sent my original letter to them on May 11th. Did get a response from them that time, and they said they were planning on demolishing it themselves, but there has been no further contact and no progress made on it. And after getting contacted by local PD, I sent out another letter of final notice, and still no contact was made about this. So I'm bringing this forth to you guys to allow me to move forward with the demolition process, which
That's true.
includes setting a hearing.
Sending here, there you go.
So the resolution would set a hearing for the 20th of November, correct? Yes.
So I would, if you were to allow me to do that, I would send out the notices to the owner, and then we could have the 20 days in that time period of notice, and then they have the opportunity to come and present whether they believe it should or shouldn't.
Well, I know this particular property has been dilapidated for a very long time. And it's in a very prime location where it's right next to the park and close to our downtown community, where it would be nice to have something done with it, whether they were to invest it and fix it up or at least come down one or the other.
The initial conversation I had with them, they were planning on tearing it down and rebuilding apartments there, but nothing's come to fruition of that, so.
Anybody else have any other questions or comments per se?
No. It's time for something to happen.
In that case, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 1617.
Second that.
A second by Commissioner Showalter. Any other further discussion? Roll, please.
Howard.
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes.
Myers. Radlin.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you, Zach. Okay, we have no formal actions or discussion items unless somebody has something they would like to discuss. Then let's move on to reports, starting with our city manager, Kent.
Manager memos included in the packet, and then Zach, I had asked him to provide updates on a couple other properties that have been of prime concern lately. Well, the two properties with the one owner, for sure.
So,
Yes, have the cats found out?
yes, no. We have not found a home for the cats. I did try to get her to sign the ownership of the cats over to the city so we could move forward with getting them rehomed or getting somewhere else so we could remove the trailer out of the property. She is not willing to do that unless she has confirmation from a vet in writing and verbal stating that none of them will be put down. It's hard to say whether or not they will because I'm not a vet, so I can't decisively say yes or no to that. I've had Kathy go over there and try to talk to her, and both of us end up in the same place. The other house on 508 West 15th, I believe, I had sent them a letter to because the floor is falling in and the roof is caving in on that, but they have agreed to demolish that themselves, so they are in the process of getting the utilities taken out of it tomorrow, and then they'll start the process of getting that demolished. 708 West 8th Street, I believe, is the address. They are in the process of tearing that trailer down. I'm sure you've seen as you've driven by. We are a little bit past the timeline, but they are making progress on it, so that's all I can ask for is to see progress, and they're still moving forward on it, so I'm not going to sit there and prod at them.
Yep, that's right.
Fair.
Is there anything else you had in mind?
No, because there's no definitive report on the house on 16th and Colorado, or the house at 15th and 16th.
No.
No additional.
No additional reports. The utilities are still there, but I was told by animal control that they are now living in the garage because the cats have overtaken that house. This would be the same property, well, adjacent property to where we demolished the mobile homes earlier this year. Cannot get anybody to answer the garage or the house, so I can't prove that they are living in there and I haven't had any reports from PD or anything like that. They see lights in there overnight, so I can't really do anything about that yet.
That one would be nice to get cleaned up too, the yard especially.
They have made progress since the trailer got torn down and they decided to put everything in the yard, but everything that you see out there in the piles in front of it are stuff they want to keep for future use of rebuilding the garage, is what I was told.
I did drive by, I don't know, probably about a week ago, just to see how the yard is looking, and it appeared like there was less there, but it may just be stacked a little nicer. It's at least covering up a lot smaller area of the yard than it was. But
One of the neighbors located to the southeast of them has been providing a trailer and a truck and helping them clean it up. It's just on their time when they have the available time to help them, so it's going surely but very slowly.
okay. Anything else? All right. Thank you again, Zach.
And then I'll ask Street Superintendent Kenton Keith to make a report on a couple different projects.
Hello.
Good evening.
Anyways, I don't know if any of you guys seen the newspaper. It should have been in the newspaper, but we're going to be fog sealing Wednesday. I'm not sure what time we'll be starting in the morning. I haven't got confirmation exactly what time the contractor's going to be here Wednesday morning, but it'll probably be normal time around 7 o'clock before we get going. But we're just fog sealing over top of all the streets that were chip sealed. This year it will be a little different. In the past, we've been kind of saving some money going with the fog through Cabitco, and but yet using ergon oil for the main chip. Well, Cabitco backed out on us on the fog this year, so this year we'll be doing all ergon oil on this project. So future-wise, we'll probably start bidding out Cabitco and ergon because with the fog seal with Cabitco, it shows Cabitco prices is with the application, ergon's isn't, so we have to hire B&H to come back out here. So, but other than that, that's what we got going on the fog seal for Wednesday. And do you have anything else?
You're also with, why don't you just review the streets again and then make
Okay.
note of the cemeteries?
We did contact the mortuaries and everything for Wednesday. Obviously, we got the cemetery in North Main that's going to be done, and so they are not. They said that we wouldn't be scheduling any funerals for Wednesday during that time. So we do have all of North Main, Caldwell from 10th to Tocas, 10th Street from Broadway clear down to end of Eustis. And then Broadway from 8th Street to Tocas. And then we also had some extra with the chip seal that we did in front of the Catholic Church there on Sherman. So those are the streets we'll be taking care of Wednesday. So
And are you gonna have one-way traffic on Caldwell during the fog seal, or just closing the entire?
it'll be closed. We'll put some signs out there on the 27 exit coming in. So the trash service, I'll be contacting, letting them know, so when they go out, they'll just go out 27 and around. So if it was Cabitco coming out, they bring one distributor. Usually we could work things out where by the time one's opened, dry, we can open it up. But B&H coming out here, they bring two distributors, so they're going to be just moving. So they'll probably be done really quick. It'll probably not take as long.
About how long doesn't need to wait until traffic can drive on
Well, it really depends on the weather on that. It is 2 to 4 hours. I'm talking to the sales rep for Ergon. He says with the lower temperatures, he's been seeing an hour
open time. So it's got it has water in it, so the water has to evaporate in it too because it's an emulsion. So, but the cooler temperatures starts cooling the temp down in the oil, so it locks into the rock too. So you got a couple different factors going. So we don't want to open it up too soon, so we always put 2 to 4 hours just to make sure we have that extra time, because you don't want to open it up and people track your freshly new oil everywhere. So, but that's what we kind of got going for that. You guys have any questions on fog seal?
I don't think so. Thank you, sir.
Okay. And then next one's our alley. I don't know if you guys noticed, we've been replacing the alley behind the car wash in the library. We're basically done with the long stretch. If you guys noticed, we didn't do the south end, north end. That's due to us doing our road project eventually. We replace all that. The elevations might change when that comes, and then they'll just be tearing it out, what we just poured. So we're just gonna leave it, we'll patch it up and make it is what it is until they get through there. We are going to do the south end, and we're going to add a handicap ramps on the corner of 9th and Broadway, and then a sidewalk down the library.
Yeah, that'd be very nice.
So that's, like I said, all we have left is the north end approach and then the sidewalk. So we have to move some sprinklers, but we should be done with that soon. So.
All right.
Good, thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
And then I'll ask Neil to come up and answer questions. I can probably describe it. Or Neil, did you want to describe it as far as the standpipe water tower? This schedule when McGuire Iron's coming?
Okay. McGuire Iron got the bid to replace the roof on the standpipe. They will be here mid-October,
Third week
of October, to take the roof off and replace it with the new one. And they said it'd take a week,
Week and a half, probably.
about a week, 10 days, and they will be complete with that project on that. And it has more of a pitch to it than what we have originally.
So they'll have to set up a crane in Memory Park in order to do that. But there's a way to get to the tower without impacting neighbors or the USDA building just north of us here, or anything else. But when people see that, realize it's just a short project for the city and it really shouldn't affect the water system.
We'll drain it, and once they get done and get everything cleaned up and chlorinate it, we'll refill it up and be back in service again.
It'll be nice to get that
A
taken
long
care of.
time coming, and it's finally going to come to an end.
Let's get that done before it completely comes off.
Well, it'll be nice, and Neil had wanted it to get done in the fall or before winter, so it wasn't such an issue to do it during the winter. And hopefully I won't mention that we could have the S word come in at that time either, but
Yeah,
the
we
smell-
won't mention that yet.
I did mention it, yes. But it should be fairly quick, then coming in and getting that taken care of.
It sounds like quite a extensive project that's going to be rather quickly. I figured it was going to take a lot longer than that. They said they could come in, have the top cut off, have it on the ground, have the new one here, ready to go, set it, get everything done, and they were going to coat the new roof, correct?
Correct.
Inside and out.
And they're also building the roof on the ground and then just lifting the whole thing up there. So, and then attaching it back, so.
Cool. Be interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like the sewer project. That was interesting.
Do you have I remember you said that you were gonna have a video on that. Do you have an idea of like when we'll be able to kind of see something like that?
They did give us something, and we can present it at a future meeting if you'd like.
I would like to see that.
It was something that I never even imagined, and it goes so fast, and it's just sit and wait, and then cut the taps out, and it's done.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see. Any other questions from anyone? Anyone?
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Running out of people to call on out there. I mean-
I'd like to call
We'll
on
just keep moving down the line.
Danny
There's you guys
Krejci,
over there.
We'll give the okay in the city forum.
Yeah.
I did have, the League of Kansas Municipalities will, in addition to the conference that attending next weekend, they will have some, they used to call them legislative dinners, they're gonna have, different city forums. And they're gonna have them at lunch and in the evening. And there's 3 locations that are fairly close to us, they're all approximate. A couple are a tad closer than the other one. But they are meeting in Scott City during lunch on October 17th, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow. And then they're going to be in Oberlin for dinner on that October 17th. And then they're going to be in Hayes on the Wednesday, October 18th. So if one of those, any of the commissioners would want to attend,
Lunch or dinner on the 18th.
it's lunch on the 18th. As quickly as possible, so then they can hurry back to Topeka. No, that's just so it's in order. But those are the 3 that are, hour and a half to 2 hours away. So if one of those you would like to attend, let staff know, and we can get you registered for the event.
Okay.
And they're just, they're gonna have an open discussion with topics determined by the members that are there. So, there'll probably be 2 or 3 different topics rather than concentrating on just the legislative session upcoming. They probably will have an update with the legislative session as well, but, just topics that affect all the cities at various times, so that would be good. I have a couple items that I don't have listed on the agenda. Did talk with Andrew with EBH last week, and the cost share that they're preparing the documents, the bid documents for the cost share project and the industrial park project. Both of them are getting kind of hung up with, we need the actual agreement from the state on both those projects. But the engineering part is, we're getting done as we can. And they'll be ready to go out for bid in November, so that we can receive the bids in December and be ready for the schedule for next year for either of those projects.
Okay.
Did Andrew meet with you, Kenton, regarding the cost share project, or did you go over that yet? or- Trying to revise the quantities that are gonna be needed for the bid documents. So that was the purpose of that. But both projects should be ready to go out for bid in November. So we'll be receiving them before the end of the year. And he's already been contacted with one vendor regarding being able to do some of the project for the industrial park over the winter. The water and sewer project specifically would be a good project to do over the winter. certain types of vendors. So that's one part. Another thing, we received our signs, I mentioned it at a meeting a couple months ago, having signs for water conservation at various places in the city. It did get posted on the city's website and various places. There's going to be 5 signs posted. If people can identify all 5 locations and submit it to City Hall, we will have a gift. The water, I forgot the name of it.
With the timer.
The timer for the
thing.
hose.
Yeah.
Adapter.
Were those 5 locations again?
Yeah. Yeah. Good try. Good try.
City Hall staff and commissioners are not eligible to apply. So. But they will be out tomorrow, so they'll be ready for people trying to identify the locations. So we'll try to do that and see if we can have a couple people respond, or at least one respond each week, and then maybe move it to a different location in a couple different weeks and start over and try again. So we got a group of 10 signs, so got the first 5 ready to go out. And that's all I have at this point.
Okay. Do you have any questions for our city manager? All right, thank you, Kent. We'll move on to commissioner reports. We'll start clear down here on my right with Commissioner Showalter.
I just wanted to say thank you to Kenton and his guys and Jason and your guys and gals for working the other night at Flatlanders. I know that, you guys had a big hand in setting up and tearing down, and nobody likes to work on the weekend, and especially during fun stuff when you'd rather be with your families than out doing that. So we appreciate the effort that you guys put in. Thank you.
Commissioner Howard.
Nothing to add at this time.
Commissioner Redland.
Nothing for me.
And I also have nothing more to add. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A motion by Commissioner Redland,
Second.
second by Commissioner Showalter. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.